Today's lab is going to be a follow-up on what we learned in class yesterday on density. Yesterday, if you remember, we learned that density equals mass divided by volume. And today, we're going to learn how this property manifests in some real-world circumstances. We're going to do that by first looking at these two cubes. They're both made of wood, but two different types of wood with two different densities. We're going to be comparing those densities to the density of water, which here we see the density of water is 1 gram per centimeter cubed. That is a fairly standard unit of measurement for density. And you can see how we get that because it is just a unit of mass over a unit of volume. And, the cube is very easy to get the volume of because it's the same on all three sides. And these are 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. Now you might notice that we're using units of centimeters. So first, we're going to convert our 1.5 inches to centimeters. And 1.5 inches equals 3.81 centimeters. Okay? And then to find the volume, as many of you might remember from geometry, a rectangle or any three-dimensional thing like this is going to be length times width times height. So that's going to be 3.81 times 3.81 times 3.81. So that's going to give us the volume of our cube, which is 55.31 centimeters, and the unit for that is centimeters cubed. And now we want to find the mass of both of our cubes. And like I said, they have different densities. So logic says they're going to have different masses because that's what's going to give them their different densities. Now I used this scale here and I have already weighed them. So I found that this, which here is labeled wood 1, it's the lighter colored one, has a mass of 28 grams. And here we, as I said before, we want to use grams, which is a metric unit. And wood 2, the darker colored one, is 65 grams. And as we know from our formula, density is just simply our mass, so here 28 grams, divided by our volume, which we calculated here, and that's going to get our density. So in the case of our lighter colored wood, our density is 0.51 grams over centimeters cubed. And our darker wood, which was heavier, so the same volume but heavier, is 65 grams divided by 55.31, same volume, gives a density of 1.18 grams over centimeters cubed. So, as you can see, 0.51 compared to 1.18, over twice as dense. So there is over twice as much matter in this same amount of space. Now, if we compare that to our 1 gram per cubic centimeter water, what do you think is going to happen? Now, if you remember in class yesterday, I said that things that are dense compared to other things, they will sink. Things that are lighter float. For example, helium. It is lighter than air, so it floats. And a gas that is denser than air will sink. So here we have water. Liquid works the same way as gases. Here's a wood that is less dense than water. Will it sink or will it float? What do you think, class? I hear a lot of people thinking it'll float. Let's see. Let's drop it in. Oh, look at that. It's floating. It's just bobbing there. Okay, now we got the denser wood. And if you compare the numbers, what do you think is going to happen? You think it's gonna sink? Okay, let's see. Straight to the bottom, almost as if it was metal or rock, you know. So we still got this one floating around here, just bobbing on the surface, and this one. And I'll tell you, it's heavy. You know, if you didn't know it was wood, you might think it was metal. And then this one is, yeah, it's light. You can tell the difference. So I'll leave you guys with a question. You've always put ice in your drinks, and I'm sure you've noticed that ice floats around on the surface. But it's still water. You know, you have water inside water, but the ice floats. So, what do you think happens when ice freezes, or when water freezes? What can you infer happens to the density of water when it goes from a liquid to a solid if ice now floats on the surface of water? So that's what I want you guys to think about. And when you come to class next time, let me know what your answer is. Okay, class dismissed.